Okay, welcome to the September 14th, 2023 Library Trustees meeting. We're having some technological issues, but we're just going to push forward. Sam, correspondence. What would you say? Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from August 3rd, 2023?
Yes, I noted some errors that we need to correct. First being that I am still listed as chair, you're still listed as treasurer, and it says I called the meeting to order. So we need to amend that to be our chair called the meeting to order.
I also have a spelling. Jillian Hoffnagel is spelled with a J, not a G.
Yeah, do you want me to take notes on one, right?
Okay.
I'll do my best.
Okay.
So I apologize, I missed the.
So our meeting minutes from August 3rd had continued to list me as the chair and Kimberly as the treasurer. And it said I called the meeting to order, but Kimberly did as chair.
I can make those corrections.
Meeting.
I have it right here.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Chris. And then Jillian needs to be spelled with a J, not a G. I didn't catch anything else.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Chris, you all set with those?
I am. Yep, got it.
Okay.
So I move to approve the minutes from August 3rd, 2023 as amended.
Second. And because we've got someone on Zoom, we're going to do a roll call. Mira, Mira. Katrina.
Yes.
Mira.
Yes.
Sarah.
Yes.
Wendy.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
And Kimberly is a yes. Great.
Did you guys get the minutes, the template I sent over?
No, but I'm doing it in a Google Doc that I can cut and paste over that.
Okay, great. I just want to make sure somebody, because I'm taking care of the edits of the third, but I just want to make sure somebody has the minutes for tonight. Great.
Yep, we're good.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, public comment. Nadia, do you want to tell us about your experience volunteering?
Yes, I had a wonderful time. I did it 2 times a week throughout the school year. And then in the summer, I put in a lot more hours. So I did a lot of shelving. I got to know the library very well. And I also helped out a lot in the children's room, which was a very fun experience. I never really worked with little kids before, and I was a little nervous the first craft I had to help with. But I actually really enjoyed it because they're so sweet and fun to work with. And I hosted my own story time, and people came, and it was very fun to talk to all the children. And I remember being in those positions and looking up at all those people that led these crafts, and then suddenly people were looking up at me. So it was kind of a full circle experience. So.
That's great. Good. Does anyone have any questions for Nadia?
You'd spend a lot of time here.
I
Definitely.
Do you have any feedback for us, since you've gone through this experience of what we should be doing different or thinking differently about as the next volunteer comes in? Or something you particularly liked through your volunteer experience that you would want to see us continue?
Yeah. One thing is the 150 hours. I feel like it was a lot in the sense that even if you work consistently throughout the year, like there were weeks in the summer I was here practically every single day getting a lot of hours in despite working throughout the year consistently. So I don't know if it was, especially considering that's like we're looking for kids that are doing well in school. And it's like I have a lot of homework, so there's only so much you can do during the school year. So that was one thing. And also I really enjoyed working in the children's room. So I think that was a very positive thing to do with volunteers. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's good feedback. Yeah.
I'm glad you had the chance to work in the children's room and do programming yourself.
Yeah.
Nice.
Anyone else? No. Okay. I know we have it later.
Right, Randy scholarship.
Yeah.
Do we need to move the 2000? Is it 2000?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I already looked at the Barth, so
Should we do that as a part of this section or later as part of? Can we do it now? Okay,
it's just not good.
let's do it now. Yeah.
I move that trustees transfer $2,000
sorry.
Yeah. How about I email this to you? I move that trustees transfer $2,000 from account 311, which is the George and Rose Wood Fund, ending earnings, into MMDT for the Ray Grandy Scholarship.
Yeah. A second?
All right, we'll do a roll call. Katrina,
Yes.
Mira,
Yes.
Sarah.
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Kimberly, yes. Great, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been a wonderful experience. I really
I
got it.
hope you'll get to keep seeing you.
Yeah, got it. I started again yesterday. Actually, so.
Great. Well, thank you. You're welcome to stay, or you can leave, whichever you prefer.
Yeah.
All right, bye. Thank you. Right, moving on to the treasurer's report.
Ray. Everyone's getting her emails. All right, so the treasurer's report, our MMDT account currently has $14,277.81. The state aid has $10,335.82. The building fund has $22,806 and 96 cents. And the Barth month ending statement value was $1,473,753.60. And I did email those just before the meeting.
Just added those to the rubric.
Thank you. I have not done that yet.
Any questions about the amounts? I have.
Yeah.
The building hasn't changed in the past month. Is that to be expected? Because we haven't taken anything out of it, nothing like that. That's not like it's supposed to be earning interest or anything. Okay. Anyone else?
But yeah, that one shouldn't be earning interest. And if they haven't paid any invoices out of it yet, then it will stay stagnant until
We do.
Yeah.
Okay. For the Barth, I know this is probably not math that happened in the last 2 days necessarily, but it's about an 18, 20, I can do this math. 27 plus 18 is what, about 45? About $45,000 changed. Is that a lot more than the amount that we actually transferred? Or like how much of that is money that we transferred and how much of that is just kind of a drop?
So I did see that there were drops this last month. So I think some of it is that the market's just not growing in our trust funds right now. And then some of that definitely was transferred.
Yes, we did a bunch of transfers.
We did a lot of transfer the last 2 times.
Yeah. Okay. We don't have to approve those, right? We just move on. Okay. Mira, friends report.
Okay, so main things, I believe this number was for the year so far, but they made $2,700 in sales from the book group. And then about the same for the spring book sale, so a little less than 2,700. The coffee cart is costing more than they're taking in, which they're okay with, but they have noticed an uptick in donations since they added Venmo. So the Venmo has been working.
There were definitely a lot of people partaking this weekend.
Yeah. They allocated $9,000 for summer reading programs or summer programs in general, plus $475 for extra program expenses over that. They are contemplating new t-shirt designs because they're pretty much out of old. I read past my bedtime, so they're thinking of maybe a new design or possibly on-demand printing so that they don't end up with lots of extra supply and sizes that are difficult to unload. And then the fall book sale is coming up. The sale days will be October 13th through 15th. So Friday through Sunday. Book donation day will be October 10th, which would be a Tuesday. And then the setup days, October 10th through 12th.
And the 15th is breakdown.
And I believe those were the main topics of discussion.
I know in the past they've used National Honor Society kids to help out. Do we know who's in charge of them now that Susan's not there?
Danielle Bearden and
Okay,
I forget who else, but yes, there are two teachers.
and are they in contact? Is that,
One of them
Friends
was
with-
there at the breakdown the last time, so
Okay.
she was involved with the book sale and she had been there.
Mrs. Bearden, you know.
Math teacher,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
cool, just want to make sure that continuity happened.
yeah.
Great. All right, any questions about the Friends report? Moving on, building updates.
Okay, so lead, so a few weeks ago, I did get a form to fill out from Phil O'Brien, who's the architect for the project that, is working on the lead. I filled out the form, I sent it back to him, and that has kind of been it so far. Both Brian and I have been going after him. I've been calling, so Phil has not been in office for the last 2 weeks. He is supposedly coming back next week, so I will call back again next week, but no one else there seems to know. We've been trying to talk to Stu. Stu Roberts is the owner of the company, and Stu won't respond to us either. So we are going to try again next week, and if not, then I will talk to Brian about what the next steps are, because we're both yelling at them.
Yeah, is there anything legally we can do?
Yeah, that would probably be the next step.
Yeah.
is-
Talking to town council and.
Yeah. So I think what happened is that Phil gave it to someone else to do, and I don't know what happened after that.
It's
So,
speculated, I guess, but
yeah,
they still need to get it done.
right, so, yeah, so there was a form that he had to fill out most of it. There were a few things he needed me to fill in, which I did like an hour later, and I sent back to him, and so, still working on it. I will try again on Monday. Hopefully he'll be there on Monday. If not, then I'll talk to Brian and see what other options I have.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
We do need that money.
So senior center construction project, I met with Ryan, Liz, OPM, and the contractors, Commodore, August 22nd. We had a little meeting to talk about what the plan is. So as of right now, they don't, as far as I know, they don't have a start date. They are thinking they might try to do some things during the winter, but they're not sure. It depends on how the winter goes. But right now, what they told me the plan is that they're going to, as you know, they're putting it on the tennis court site. The town also built the house that's behind the tennis court. So the house is supposed to be the main office area for those OPM and the contractors. And they're also going to have the entire area gated off. So everything should take place on the tennis court. That is the plan. They may use some, well, in the plan, they had parking spaces at the end, which there are no parking spaces. There were parking spaces in a very old plan of this library. But the space they're using, there's nothing there anyway. So if they do use it, it's not going to be a big deal if they used it. But it's basically the end where that big open space is. There will be a couple of weeks they warned me in the middle of the project where they will have to dig up our parking lot to lay some pipe. They said they will talk to us about it and give us plenty of warning and work with us on it, but it's a necessary part of the project for the sewer. So, but other than that, they said it shouldn't impact us. So we'll see.
They can't do it now while they're doing the other parts of the sewer? No, okay.
No, they didn't even know, the Commodore didn't even know that we were installing the sewer.
Oh.
And apparently the new sewer won't be done until after their project is done. So they're actually connecting it to the old sewer.
Not the news I wanted to know.
No.
So, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
when they talk about our parking lot, they mean just the spaces in front of in front of library or? Yeah, okay.
Space.
So sorry, Sam, you said they're using the house for construction offices?
Yeah.
Okay.
Instead of putting like the trailer,
Well, they're gonna have trailers too.
they're gonna both.
The municipal.
Alright.
It's not.
This parking lot's, it feels very crowded most days these days.
Yeah.
With all the sewer spots taken and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For, I mean, all town halls, it's impacting everyone.
Right, yeah, that whole parking lots. Very busy. Okay,
So any questions about that?
No, but how's this, if I may, it's connected to the sewer conversation. How is the sewer construction stuff impacting the library?
Mostly it's the parking. That's the biggest issue.
And lack of EV chargers.
And lack of EV chargers that we had temporarily for a couple of weeks and then went away. Other than that.
But there's no water coming in building or anything from their digging.
So, we did have a casualty, one of the portraits in the search room, I don't know if you've noticed, fell. And broke. So that's something I'm gonna have to, they kind of need new frames anyway. So I've been looking at companies to reframe it.
is that related to the sewer?
So it fell. And
Okay.
after they were like,
They're
As
banging.
building was shaking.
They were,
Okay, that's
the
okay.
building
Yeah.
was shaking. Was there
so-
any other damage to the building during this time?
No. There was a day where the sewage came out of, there's some sewage that came out of one of the bathrooms down
Oh,
here. George took care of it right away. He had a pump come out. We don't know if it's related or if it's because of all the rain. They did go out there and look at the septic. Apparently, it was also a day where we had a lot of kids here. So the plumber thinks that had to do with, having so many people and using the bathroom at one time. But there's no way to really say whether or not it was because of that or whatever. But they said if they went out, they did go outside to check, and the plumber said it didn't look like it was related. He said he would have been able to tell. So,
Okay.
but yeah, he had it fixed. George and plumber got it done. pretty
And
quick.
are we aware of any impact on the fire road and clearly they dug up the hill and it's gonna need to be reseeded? Is there a plan for that repair?
They've shared with me. Yeah.
keep a list of,
I'm gonna write down questions.
yeah, stuff that happens because of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we can help advocate if we need.
Any other questions about that?
How much longer do they anticipate the parking lot being?
I don't know. We're having a staff meeting tomorrow. So hopefully they'll bring that up there, and if not, I'll ask for it.
Our elevator?
Yeah, so there is an invoice in your packet for the elevator. So back when the elevator was installed, when we had it come up for inspection, they discovered that there was something that I forgot what it was called.
Because they actually hurt, they didn't need it at 10.
Yeah.
5 minutes later, they needed it.
Mhm.
the the recall stop switch. So apparently the recall stop switch was not installed correctly, or it wasn't installed up to code, but when the Commodore installed it, it wasn't, it's a code that changed in between the time the elevator was installed and the time it got it inspected. So anyway, it wasn't up to code. So, and then also because of COVID, the part wasn't available. So it's taken until now for the code for the part to finally be installed. And so the total cost for that is $7,570 for the part and labor. So yeah, so I don't know.
Have you talked to Ryan about this one?
I haven't talked to her about it yet. You want me to?
It's a question about Ron.
Just wonder whether or not it should be. I mean, it's kind of part of the original building. I'm just wondering whether or not it's a building expense, in which case it could either come out of our building fund or like it's a town building and the town pays for it. Which is sort of what the building fund is anyway, to some extent, but because it's not like from use, right? It's not like the door that keeps on falling off because of use or something like that, right?
Look, even then, that should be a building,
Even so, it should be, yeah,
in my opinion.
yeah.
It does feel like it's worth talking to Ryan and the town accountants to see what money is in I think what we're butting up against is there's no more money in the fund to pay for these extra expenses, so, because we're waiting for the lease reimbursement. But yeah. Thoughts on this, done?
Well, how much of a delay was there between when the elevator was installed and the inspection?
It was at its first annual inspection, so it was a few months.
But it wasn't inspected like when it was first installed?
It was, but the requirements changed
Yeah, the requirements changed.
for the state.
I feel like we talked about this before.
We did, I can't remember.
That, like, there should have been accountability, that you knew this was coming and you should have had it up to code when you installed it, and I think. I feel like there was follow-up on that, and that should have been sailed, like we exhausted that avenue, but I agree with you. That's where you're going.
So we need to get this paid for one way or another. It's a question of whether we pay for it or if they find some place in the town budget to pay for it.
And it wasn't just our elevator, wasn't it, like all the elevators in town had.
Which is why I think Anthony threw it at us asking for money, because they have to update every elevator.
Yeah.
And if I recall correctly at the time, like, we were like, we'll pay for this one and then move on. We need to figure out the ongoing building maintenance and keeping it up to date.
Yeah.
In which you said you're gonna work with Ryan in this budget cycle to make sure the library is captured correctly under the facility budget. So hopefully these kind of requests will start to be reduced as that's captured in the town's budget. Yeah. And if we stop looking bigger.
In that case, I'm okay with paying it out of Barth or whatever,
Yeah, I just don't want to keep having these like
Agree.
$10,000
Yeah, it's a lot.
expenses because we're gonna.
run through. Do you have this added to your spreadsheet?
Oh wait, this spreadsheet?
Yes.
You did. Yeah, I think it was in there.
Yeah, okay.
Any other comments before? Okay, I move that trustees transfer $7,570 from account 314 Second Century Librarians Fund, ending earnings into MMDT to pay associated elevator invoice 311122.
Second,
All right, roll call. Katrina? Wow.
Yes.
Mira? Sarah?
Yes.
Wendy?
yes,
Chris?
Yes.
Really, yes.
Okay, so our HVAC system has been changed to a new system called Odin, which it's an app now. So I can basically control the HVAC, the heating system from my phone. So
what's the name of the system?
Odin, ODIN.
In capital.
Okay. So there's still a few things they have to bring over, like the schedules, all the schedules that we did. So I haven't, right now I'm the only one that knows how to use it, but I'm going to teach some of the staff, like Mike and Susan, how to use it. But yep, but now it's a new system. It's pretty much like the old one, except now I can do it from anywhere. I don't have to be downstairs. Like if I get a call one day, I don't have to worry about coming here.
Was there money included in the cost to transition to this new system?
Right, that was part of
The thing that we did
yeah,
a few,
The
okay.
prior
Yeah.
invoice we approved.
yeah.
Are you happy with the system?
Yeah, it's fine. It's good.
All right, any questions about that? No. All right, moving on to the director's report.
Kimberly and I met with Anna Houston from the planning board to go over that request that she had that we brought up at the last meeting. And after further discussion, we discovered that she really just wanted a binder, to put a binder in the on one of the periodical sections on the little shelves. And the binder has information about upcoming planning board projects and some diagrams and pictures and things like that. And she's going to take care of maintaining it So we said it was okay since it was just a little binder. So we'll put that out. I spoke with town council, Tom Harrington, concerning First Amendment auditors. So some of you may have heard or seen the videos about what's been going on. So there's this group of YouTubers called First Amendment that basically go around and record people and with their phones
In public spaces.
in public spaces and municipal buildings. So they've been going to they've gone to town hall, they've never been here. And they basically record people doing work and they try to catch you doing things and they try to get views. And so they went to Acton Library and now they're focusing, so staff have pretty much been trained. Don't react to them, just answer any questions and don't, do anything to antagonize them. So they've realized they can't get anything out of staff, so they started going after patrons. So in Acton, they went out after an older gentleman who was at the Acton Library. They just happened to see him adjusting his belt buckle, and they accused him of being a pedophile. And they chased him around the library. They harassed it was a Saturday, so the senior librarian in charge was the children's librarian. And so they were, berating the children's librarian, telling him he's going to get fired unless he calls the police for this person. So anyway, I talked to Tom Harrington about it to see, what options we may have, and unfortunately there aren't many. They do have the right to film in the library. It's a municipal building. And so First Amendment says they can.
But if they start harassing people, isn't that disrupting the activities of the library, which do you have policies about, or we couldn't really prove that in a court of law, so.
Right. So basically they're allowed to film. What Tom told me was that technically we could consider the library a limited public forum, which means that we could create a policy that says you can't videotape or use photography in the library, but that would apply to everybody. So that means a mom can't take a picture of her kid's first time reading. The staff can't take a picture. Yeah. So he recommended against doing that. Also, you may have noticed I put employee only signs in some places. So these people are not allowed to go into areas where employees work. So like if they came to my office, they could take a look at anything. Like if I had personal information for someone on my screen, they could look at it all. So we tried to put employee only plaques in places to make sure they can't go to those places. Technically, they are allowed to tape minors. They tend not to, but they are allowed. So yeah. So
Are they allowed to walk into meeting rooms or study rooms when the doors are closed and come in?
Mhm.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's on TikTok, it's a big YouTube channel,
Yeah.
and like you can see them, like. It's across my field and you see like the videos of them and the police will come and there's really no foot to stand on to remove them. The police will be like, well, I'd like to, you're being asked to leave, and then they're like, under the law, unless there's a policy, I can't ask you, and they know their rights, right? And then that's where the views come from. I guess I'm interested in, like, I'm not saying to put a policy in place, but I'm interested in why it's a problem that someone couldn't film here. Like, is there really a downside for saying that?
I mean, then technically no one could.
I think it's unenforceable.
Yeah.
But if that's a policy, right? Like, so if a mom did it, and we didn't catch it, but then the policy itself is like, and I guess the way I think about it is like the policy or the law is that you should be driving 55 miles an hour at all times, and turns out I don't. And that doesn't, I should. But if a cop comes by, ultimately the law is the law that you're posted there, that's the rule. And so I'm wrong at the end of the day. But there are times where I am able to drive over.
But if we saw a parent taking a picture of their kid, we would have to, in order to be consistent, we would have to stop that.
Or if this First Amendment auditor saw a parent, and they could legally,
Right, and then you're also putting a lot of responsibility on the library staff when they already have a lot to do. I mean, I
I know.
would love to find a way to shut this down too, but I don't
Right,
know
and
that.
again, I know we're not going to policy, I was
Right.
still questioning how many times are people taking pictures of their kids in the library?
You see the teens taking pictures all the time. Like, I think there are people in groups who do use their cameras in here for various reasons. I mean, I've seen families taking pictures.
And the library staff, like if they have a program, they wouldn't be able to take a picture of the, you
Yeah.
know,
So can't the
presenter.
library staff do it?
No,
No.
The library staff,
It-
can't either, okay.
If you say certain people can't, then there's viewpoint
Even-
discrimination happening, and then that's where you open yourself up to lawsuits.
Even staff.
Even
do.
stuff.
Okay.
so, the solution that was suggested by Ryan and by Tom is that should these groups show up here? Sorry, I have something in my throat. Either I or whoever the senior person is on staff at the time, one staff member will stay with that person. And another staff or multiple staff will go around to patrons and say, look, these people are here, they're allowed to film. Usually if you don't react to them, if you're like as boring as possible, they just like walk around and then they don't get the views and they leave. I've heard that from multiple other libraries where they say they came in, they were filming, the staff was very polite to them, asked them if there's anything they could help with. And if nothing happens, they just walk out the door. So basically, the plan is that we would warn the patrons that, look, I'm sorry, these people are here, just ignore them and so go away.
Choose how you want to interact.
Right.
It's your choice at that point.
So Tom also said that he does not recommend, so in the active video, the staff took that patron into employee area, which they really shouldn't have done, because that means, again, it's like the photo thing. One person,
Inconsistency.
that means that,
Your policy isn't worth it.
Yeah.
right. So, but he did say that he would have no problem with us taking a minor somewhere that's
Protect a minor.
protect a minor, but if it's someone that's not a minor, then done.
So I understand the employee area, but now I have a question. Like last night I went in the back office and took all the newspapers from the museum, but technically I'm not an employee.
Yeah.
So I don't want to cross the line and then, because if one of those people is here filming and one of us went to the back office for whatever reason.
I think as a trustee, it's different.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we.
Yeah.
We have a role connected to the library.
That,
I mean, we have keys too, so.
right, okay, I just want to make sure that.
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, it's a good
I
question.
know, it's a really good question
Yeah.
because
But yeah, I mean, even if,
friends.
say, someone else wanted to come to my office and talk to me about something, like, it's like a weird.
I'm sorry you're in this position. It is really an interesting discussion and it's, yeah, because like when you were talking, you were saying that you'll like alert patrons and then it's kind of up to them to make that decision. So minors can't really make that decision.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, so if you have like a whole group and we've worked so hard to make the library accessible to teens and what have you, we don't make policy based on the what if, obviously. But if you had a whole group full of teens and they're told, hey, there's someone here who's boring, they'll go away. I mean, by default, don't you start to do this back? Yeah, I mean, like there's no executive function, there's no frontal lobe at that point. So it's and they can't make that decision. So it is an interesting kind of dilemma.
Is it something that, I mean, in that situation also, and maybe it's a parent thing, maybe there could be something, but letting our teens also know that this is happening and trying to tell them how to react also, they're not gonna because frontal lobe and all that stuff.
Also,
I just wonder if it's like a, if a stranger approaches you, here's what you do. If someone's coming up with you with a camera and you're not, you don't like, I don't know what to do, honestly. I don't know what I would tell Ampy to do, but
you may have seen it. I mean, it's depending on who's like, like there's a lot of,
yeah.
but if Sam's following policy, then like perhaps Sam is with them and Mike's walking around saying to the kids, hey, there's someone filming, I advise you to this. And there's like, like when I do Alice drills, it's like, hey, this is what you do. And there's always a one kid being like, I'm gonna Rambo, like, so it's interesting. It's
I mean,
interesting.
I do hope this is never an issue, but I do also appreciate that you went to town council and got information about how to do it and train the staff for how to deal with it and made a plan. Like that's kind of the best we can do in this situation.
Okay. Speaking of staff, we had a staff meeting on last Tuesday. We had Alec Kane come to talk about LGBTQ plus inclusion, policies with the staff.
I'm sorry, who came?
Allie Kane, Alikane.
Thank you.
And that is the same presenter from the talk from last winter,
Yeah, from a few months ago.
maybe
Yeah.
spring.
Yeah, so Allie did a great job. I think the staff really enjoyed listening to her. Then we had a staff meeting. We talked about first amendment auditors, some updates. Mike and Tracy are notaries now, so that's
Do we
great.
always have a notary on staff, like nearly all the hours?
Pretty much.
I mean, there's
Yeah, probably now.
five of
too.
you now.
Yeah, because Tracy's one. So Tracy and Julie are pretty much always here at the certain days. I'm here, Mike's here, Jean's here.
Don't see all these notary numbers yet. Have you done your first notarization?
These are for last.
Oh, yeah. So you-
I have done two.
Okay, great.
Two out of four.
So I've called several times over the past few months and well, not time, but most of the time, I think there was once there wasn't a notary on, but it was
Awesome.
pretty frequent that somebody was here.
I mean, it's great to have 5 of our staff. That's what, about a third-ish of our staff to do it.
It's great.
Which is great. So thank you for being trained. I do think that's one of those services people appreciate.
Popular. Yeah, it is very popular. I just did one like 5 minutes before I came down. We did a summer reading debrief. Children's had 420 kids participate. And there were 93 teens that participated in summer reading. For children's, we had 10 100-hour readers. And for teens, we have 12 100-hour readers.
What's that?
Lauren needs to come here.
Abby signed up and then didn't, he doesn't keep track.
Keep track.
Yeah.
That was Eric's problem. Are those numbers, how do they compare to prior years? On COVID years?
I think the children's is actually a little low. I think the highest I've ever seen is like over 500.
Right, that's kind of what I was remembering.
Yeah. Teens is about right. It's about close to what it usually is. Yeah.
42 events for teens is a lot.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Was that 42 across children and teens? That seems like a lot for just teens. It's under the teen line, but
Megan did a lot.
yeah.
No, I feel like she was doing a lot.
Yeah, she did a
Yeah.
lot. Especially, for her first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like every other day there was something.
That's true.
And she's in the lo-fi study lounge now, which is very popular.
Yeah, how's that going?
It's going really well. Yeah, it's been doing very well. So, and then the rest are just the stats.
How are we doing with our budget?
Budget wise, we're doing pretty well.
We just started the year essentially.
Yeah, we're on target.
Okay, any other questions for Sam? Okay, moving on to old business, meeting room policy.
Yeah, so we found a few typos. And then there were a couple of things that we wanted to add.
Gina, can you take over for a second? Just go to the bathroom.
All right, so the version that was emailed out, is this the most recent? And were the additions made? It's made to this version?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just highlight, it didn't actually make the changes.
Am I in the wrong version?
I sent you a link to it.
There's no
I'm not
highlights.
seeing
on
I
it.
don't see highlights on the ones, I thought I opened it, but I'll reopen it and see. I still don't see highlights.
And I don't think this is the right version. Because it says it would be the responsibility of the group using the meeting or study room to applicants are responsible for the set of the room, and I thought we had cleaned that all up, so it's grammatically correct.
Hmm.
This is a version that's on the website. So maybe I was sent to her.
I don't know, I have to ask Kimberly how the version I pulled up was seemed really old, or maybe it was a highlighted version, which confused me. I don't know. I couldn't figure it out, so.
This is one where we talked about it, that I thought that recently, because grammatically, it's not accurate to say it will be the responsibility of the group using the meeting room, study room to : applicants are responsible to set up, the kitchenette is not included, like we had moved that all around so that grammatically it was correct, so I know this is not the correct version.
Okay, do
Um,
we wanna find the correct version and then correct it and then bring it up at the next meeting?
what did you want?
Yeah, what were the things you
So the
needed
things we
to?
wanted to take out was children's bathroom. We don't want that to be resolved. The town bylaws link is wrong, and I think that's just because the website changed. So that's been fixed.
But Sam, when I asked you about links, I thought you said that you were going to put the links in, no? Okay, maybe you meant that you were gonna link this to the library.
Yeah.
Okay. Kimberly, can we meet sometime so I can figure out how to put it in next?
Yeah, I'm seeing,
And also I went to, you had the Google sheet with all the links to all the documents. And when I went on that, I felt like I was finding a really old version of the meeting room, so I don't know. I need to figure out how to get the latest version in there, so.
I'm looking to see if the one that I had it as meeting room policy updated. I mean, I don't know, the last time we had updated August 2023. And now, and it looks like a lot of things have been changed on that, like a lot.
That's what I was saying, so that confused me, was that,
Yeah.
Sam, did you change a lot?
We changed
said-
a lot,
Well, we had like,
but in looking at it from Kimberly, I'm wondering
Yeah.
if the changes aren't accepted. Is that part of the problem? Because the content didn't change, but the grammar and where it fell in the flow.
We
So, like,
moved things around.
there was a place like for glitter in 2 different places, like the kitchenette was in a weird place, so where it moved. And these are all little things, like this is all the grammar.
Do we know who did this? It says anonymous.
It very possibly could have been me, like we were remote.
right, you were, yes,
Okay.
So I'm wondering, were these just not accepted maybe? It was a strange setup when we were doing it, because I'm wondering if that's.
Okay. Do you want to take a look? Do you want to? Cause you might remember, you might recognize some things.
So the only other thing in this, and this is an observation from when I borrowed a room on Sunday, so after hours, is that the other group that was here had used the sign out front to prop the door. So every time the door shut, it automatically opened again. It was like a constant open close. And I do think something for us to consider is to state in here very clearly that exterior doors shouldn't be propped as an addition, as we're
is
looking
that
at
a
it.
policy or procedure?
I think it should be a policy, given that we're saying people use
That's fine.
the room after hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I approached them and was introduced myself as a trustee and just said, I just noticed this with the door that was kind of wildly swinging open. It was pretty violent, actually. So I said, can we please not do that?
Right,
And they explained the repair we just paid for, and they were like, oh, I get it. And they put someone by the door.
well, also because then anyone can walk in the library,
Yeah.
I mean, anyone, if the door's open, then anyone could get into the building.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can't control who ends up in the building in those cases, but
But, ultimately, like the group that reserves it, they're responsible, right? But then if they prop the door, some random person pops it, then who's responsible for that?
yeah.
I guess ultimately them. I don't know, I agree that the door should not be left.
Anyway, it just felt like one of those things that in our communicating with people and like if we're in the meeting room reminders, I need to look at my reminder. If we're linking to the policy and reminding people of their responsibilities, then that just seems like a one to try to protect the security of our building by adding. I mean, we say they have to shut the doors when they leave. We didn't say they couldn't prop them. It seems like an obvious thing, but
This looks like what, okay. There's a 4 here that's.
and I don't think groups are doing it maliciously. I think they're just doing it for ease of their own.
Right.
I know, wouldn't we, right? That's,
What?
we all would, right? That's, let's just make this easy. We'll just hold the door, prop the door open.
Yeah, I have this thing here, it
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
it
yeah.
easy. I get it. I
Yeah.
totally get it. But when Lauren and I sat here and we're like, what is going on with the door? I figured I was like, no wonder it broke. It was pretty aggressive every time it tried to shut.
Okay, so what we have is so this looks to you like what you and Sarah worked on.
This should be much more, yeah.
Okay, so it looks like there's some little things to fix. The one that you shared didn't have all of the kind of accepted changes from what Sarah and Wendy were looking on. Do we, one more month won't hurt with this, right?
And is there anything urgent we would need to address right now? Like for in the next month, it would be a process.
But then Sarah and I can look back together. You want the children's prep room explicitly noted it can't be reserved. The town bylaw link is not accurate. What else do you want to make sure is in there?
Don't prop the door open, like door security, we can figure out.
No exterior doors should be propped.
Okay.
There are just two things that, and it's mostly about people checking when you arrive, which they do anyway, with just making sure it's in there.
Sorry, checking in with whom when they
With the circulation desk, when they arrive and when they leave, so we know that they're here using the room and if they're
during working hours.
during working hours, right? For the,
Yeah, those
this is
are
for
the
the
study
study
rooms.
rooms, this is for the study room stuff.
Okay.
And if they're more than 15 minutes late, they forfeit use of the room.
For any of those, or just the study room?
It's just a study room.
15 minutes late. Okay.
That's it. And then the rest was just the typos.
Yeah, I think we caught the typos, and I think it's in a better flow overall. But we can share it back out for feedback as well.
Sounds good.
That'd be great.
This isn't apparently not mine to share, so I can't share it back. It's the one that's updated August 2023 is the one that's the current
Okay.
version.
And I think I don't know that I have the right to do that either. I think that it sits with you, Sarah.
Okay.
So it may make sense for you and I to go together. I can navigate Google well.
Mhm.
So it's a try, like you can transfer to me and then we can
Right.
try that a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. So
Sorry, what was it called? Changes are found, meeting
meeting room policy updated August 2023.
let's see, updated.
So that there's not confusion, can we rename the meeting, the staff updates one, something that says like this isn't, okay.
All right, and will be reissued for next meeting. We'll revise and then change. Okay. Okay, thank you for the feedback, Sam. That was all business. Sorry, Kimberly, back to you.
Oh, that was fine. Gotta find the agenda again. Okay, so we're okay with that, moving on. Anything else for the meeting room policy? Or, okay. Okay, new business, Ray Grande Scholarship, it's that time again.
We just did that.
Nope, this is.
Oh, right, the new.
Yep, yeah. So we got so what we have to decide today is kind of just what the parameters are of the scholarship. If we want to keep it the way it was last year, which was we offered it up to juniors and seniors, $2,000, 150 hours. If you want to make any changes to that, also kind of timing of, I guess we have the online form. So how we're going to do, kind of put the form, update the form, and also get the word out to juniors and seniors in high school to get them to apply. So, I know Nadia brought up the 150 hours, that it might be too many hours for kids who are really busy with things, which are the kids that we might want to come volunteer. Actually, I don't know if we want to volunteer. We want anyone to volunteer. Yeah.
I think you're.
But it's a reasonable point. That might be a lot of hours. What do people think about that?
But I think we upped the money to accommodate the hours so that it was more of like a job.
Yeah. Okay.
Was it a minimum rate? What is the?
To mathematically,
Yeah, I can't remember.
so it's 150 hours.
Yeah.
2,150 hours. What is that? Close to minimum wage?
150 divided by, let's say realistically, like 40 weeks. It's about 4 hours a week. I know they do more over the summer.
4 hours a week seems pretty reasonable.
Over if they have 40 full weeks. How many hours do they usually work over the summer, Sam?
It's which one, but it can be like up to, she was right, it could be up to
Yeah.
How many hours a day?
like 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours a day.
So that's like 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
When did she start?
There's like a summer. So if it's 20 hours a week and it's 8 weeks in the summer, that's 160 hours. And so if you assume that, then, 2,000 divided by, let's say like 150. That's like $13 an hour. So if someone's stacking it for the summer, it's really not minimum wage
Right.
for that piece of it. So if someone's able to do it over the course of the year, that's it. And you prefer the help over the summer.
That's good to know. Yeah. So I think I think my only concern would be is, and we got 2 applicants last year. We got, I think, 1 the year before that. Would we get more applicants if the number of hours was fewer? Maybe the scholarship is less too, I don't know. But would we get more applicants? Well, if we.
Is part of the applicant pool, or is part of what's pushing the applicants off potentially that it's a year-long commitment? Like, has it ever been considered like, this is a scholarship with X number of dollars for 4 weeks in July? You have this many hours, if that's when you want them, you know what I mean?
That would work. Yeah, if it was something where we did it in the July, early August during summer reading, that would be fine. I mean, most of the time, this is the 9th year that I've done it with students, and it's always the same thing. They don't have time during the year because of school, plays, whatever, and so the summer is really when they do it anyway.
And if that's what you want, and it's less to manage,
Right.
it's, you know what I mean, like, or, and again, I don't want to help anything, but if that's what you want. And we don't have to hit minimum wage, it's about it's a stipend or whatever else, but if that's what you want, you'd rather have them clustered so that they're building a relationship here, they're, you know, as opposed to coming in 2 hours and then not coming back for a week and not remembering what they're doing. Then I'm wondering if it makes sense to kind of think about it a little differently. And that we're requiring 30 hours over a 4-week time period or something like that, so kids can kind of think about, is it something they want, because this replaces a job for those weeks or what have you. And seniors could do it in, you know, June, beginning of July before they go away, or juniors can say, I'm doing this instead of working, or.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I mean, we certainly don't have any active to volunteer to volunteer in the library. So really, we have to turn away people sometimes because we do have this scholarship for something. We've kind of guaranteed this is what you're doing. So if we do it maybe like 6 weeks out of the year, is the requirement.
And that would free you up to have other volunteers during the course of the school year.
Right.
Or is there a need for like April break or February break as well, or is it mostly summer?
It's mostly summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we want to do the community service piece, but it should help your team as well. It seems like.
Is there a way to get feedback from students to say, is this more appealing? An option to short, like what is the right thing for a scholarship?
Yeah.
Well, are they too young?
They're too, right? Yeah.
Well,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, we could put a quick survey together, throw it out there and just see what happens.
Yeah.
And send it to the NHS crew, send it to some high schoolers now.
Yeah.
Is it worth our taking the time to do? I don't want to delay us a month.
So what I was, yes, I think yes, and if not, I think it might be worth trying it the other way, like
Yeah, we
just
could
in the
experiment
summer.
this year and
Yeah.
see and get
Yeah.
feedback that way.
If you survey previous volunteers that have won the scholarship,
3 of them.
all 3. Yeah. Well, you know what I mean, like, because it's one thing to survey people who have done an experience and said,
Yeah.
you know, would that have changed? Would that have had an impact? They lived through what it was like doing it. I feel like this is the second person that said it was hard, because the first person who did it was in all the plays.
Jacqueline, yeah.
Thank you, and gave all that feedback that it was hard because of tech week, it was hard because of the world, and hard because of that, and then like summer was okay. So we have at least an N of 2 saying that was a harder piece to do. And if they both gave us feedback saying, actually, no, this is like, that would be so overwhelming because I'd have to choose between this or this, then we know, right? Versus like the hypothetical, because when you throw it out to people, you know, saying, would you be more interested in this? Like, you know, they haven't actually, they never applied in the first place.
I'd like to do both.
right? Yeah, you could do both.
And I do think, I'm not that worried about the month, because I'm just looking at the scholarship, the form that we did from last year, and we said deadline to apply is November 28th, 2022. If most people aren't doing their hours till summer anyway, I think it's okay to push it out by a month. I don't think it's right. So I don't want to try to. It depends on what we decide to do with it, but yeah,
I mean, yeah, if people aren't really getting into their hours until the spring, summer,
yeah.
then we could choose people as late as the February meeting
Yeah.
and have time.
Yeah.
Like, when does Park and Rec start their hiring?
During the spring, I know they pull their counselors are being interviewed in May, as soon as they come home from college, essentially.
When do they pull their CITs?
At the same time frame, so like April, May, I think is when they're pulling their staff. I'm sure they're reaching out to staff. It's to see if they return, if they're returning staff, but
Sure, yeah.
Another thing, so the survey seems like a good idea, trying to reach out to, I mean, there are colleagues, some of them are in college now, some of them aren't, but the past winners. I'm not also just noticing this, maybe this is a small thing, and we do have to decide on an amount, and it will be dependent probably if it's summer, 4 weeks in the summer, which is fewer hours, or if it's 150 hours or whatever. Nowhere on the email from last year or on the form, and that's probably on me, did we say the amount that someone's gonna get a scholarship, and that's if it's $2,000, that might make a difference to people versus $300 or something like that too, so we should probably,
we'll update that.
yeah, this time around.
Well, assuming, I guess the question is if we're reducing the hours, we gotta figure out whether
What
2,000 is still the
yeah.
right number or not.
Right.
Well, are you reducing the hours? I mean, I think there's a couple.
Well, if we do 4 weeks, what did he figure out? 30 hours over 5 weeks is 150.
4 times, yeah,
That's a full-time
That's a-
job for somebody, like, that's a lot for.
that seems like, yeah. So if it's 20 hours, 4 weeks is 80.
Two guys are well, I mean,
80 at 15 is 1,200. I mean, what was the hourly rate? It was 2,000 divided by 600 for 2 hours.
Yeah, it's like $13 is what I got.
Yeah, 13.3.
I mean, I just speculating, I imagine the volunteer piece might put some people off to start with, because if you can just apply for a scholarship where you don't have to do anything to get it, why would you apply for one where you actually have to work for it? So that is, I mean, you're just gonna like eliminate certain people anyway, because they're busy or they don't want to. So I imagine we're never gonna get a huge pool of applicants.
just there's a way, if there was a way to get like 5.
Is it a paid internship? Just have to say scholarship?
Is it
Paid
established
internship?
as a scholarship?
Yeah, it's established.
Because it's not, if you're making.
And at the very least, I think we need to think about the 15, like, so I just looked up, make sure I understood the minimum wage is $15 per hour in Massachusetts, so.
Can the scholarship be revisited versus a paid internship opportunity? Because the scholarship implies, like Mira makes a really bad point, that you're getting something and not working for it.
Yeah.
So
And
I'm
if you can get
wondering-
minimum wage someplace else.
Right, if you can do both,
Yeah.
then I can see that.
But like, if this were a mentor, you know, like an internship opportunity, that's a resume development and you're getting a stipend for it. You're not held to minimum wage and you're getting something for a resume, you're getting some mentorship. I mean, that's a wonderful thing you say.
And then somebody wanting to do it 4 hours a week for a longer period of time. Sense too. And a junior would want to do it for their applications.
Or a junior or a senior, like, if you're really getting that experience, it's so college normative, right? Like, you know, I'm doing an internship at the library and I learned blah, 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 and I think we've been there. Not to make more work for anyone, but if someone's interested in daycare, working with kids, library sciences, cataloging, research, internet, like any of those things. In there, I could probably catch a half hour with Mike, with Sam, with, you know, any of the areas of the library and like walk away with, you know, like a little career training piece.
And if you're looking at campus jobs and those library ones are coveted, there's a
They have
resume
something.
builder right there.
Mhm. Is that something that we would need to talk through with Judy, or is it something that we can decide? And what does it mean to have a paid internship and to establish one? I don't know.
I think we need to do some research on the history of this
Yeah.
This was exists before I got here,
Right.
so.
It just seems like it's name draw.
I think the intent was good.
The intent is fantastic, and I love that it's there, and I love that it's giving back, and I mean, I remember this was when Olivia was younger, right? So like, and it's really fantastic. And the heart of it is so good, this people from Liv's class loved hanging out with the librarians, like that was, the intent was so good, right? But there's a marketing problem.
It's clearly not working for the students.
And I think it's a name problem, I think it's a, yes.
It looks like Kimberly's writing down all our questions.
Yeah,
But if it's a paid internship, does that? Do you have to get permission from the town? Like, what does that?
taxes, do we have to, like taxes and
I
things
think
like
it's a
that?
scholarships that are not taxed. Here's my trust.
But there's some loopholes around stipends.
Okay.
And I don't know the exact amounts and stuff like that, but just like from my experience with my school, because we give about, I wanna say 800 is the magic number, but I can't swear to it.
I remember. Yeah. Back when I was a musician and I played for a gajillion different groups, and if I didn't make a certain amount of money, they didn't have to give me a 1099. There was something like that. So I don't remember what that amount of money.
I feel like it's like that 800,
Something like that, yeah.
So,
Which in that case, we would have to cap and figure out the hours. And maybe take more than one kid or something like that also, but yeah.
but wouldn't that be cool? Like,
It'd be great if we had more people trying to do it.
3 or 4 of them, and
Yeah.
the hours would actually work in the, like,
Sam, do you want more, like,
is one.
because that's more work for the staff.
Oh, yeah, so, yeah, Andy never won.
But Andy's
Okay.
not here.
Yeah.
How many?
So, Julie, I mean, if it's something where we're spreading it out over the year, then yeah, that would be fine. I think all at once is when it becomes an issue.
So if they were all during the summer, that's probably.
Right.
when we say all, like 2 or 3 over the summer manageable, or is that too much?
2 or 3, I would have to talk to Diana.
Well, if you scheduled, if you said I have a block available from like these dates,
Right.
these dates, and these dates versus like all 3 are here for these 2 weeks, you know what I mean?
Yeah, if it's something like that, that would be probably okay. Or if we know they're coming, and that was the other thing with the 2 or 3 people is it was kind of up in the air when they would show up sometimes. But if we know when they're coming, we can schedule for it, then it's probably easier.
That sounds like that'd be a more helpful thing than if it was like a summer thing too, that.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it sounds like the first step, if this sounds like people are potentially interested in trialing this, which might be a terrible idea, but if it is, then I think that is it even possible to change it? And if so, then you go with the needs-based thing from the program, right? The library for these 3 weeks has hours here, and what, you know, if you're applying for it, you're agreeing that you will hit X number of hours within these time slots, you're committing to them now. And then the next shift is available in these weeks, same sort of thing. It just gets to really, you know, that's the structure. This is what you can do, not what do you feel like coming in, it's a mini job essentially. You're not doing us a favor. This is your job, you're getting paid for it.
And I guess it depends on how far out they're applying, because that could, you know, if you're applying in February for something in June,
Right, yeah.
a million things could change, so,
But now we're all scheduled in camp by then.
That's true.
but, you know, for a teenager to lock themselves in and then say, oh, I can't do this week, but I could have done, I don't know, it seems.
I think it's reasonable, you know, and the application process may be a little bit, you know, more rushed then, it may be more of a, you know, March situation, April situation. But I think at that point, it's if you're applying for it, you're saying, I am available to work for these 3 weeks. You know, and Sam's got shifts in the libraries open late. So I'm available to work these things, or I'm available to work with her Thursday with library, whatever, you know, Sam and the team, the team feels like they're able to do. But it's a job. I mean, I think it's a job.
I just wish we had a chance to do a focus group or something with students to just get a feel of
Yeah,
why they don't, like, if they're looking at, like, yeah, I want to work at the library. I know lots of kids who want to volunteer at the library, but when they see this and they're like, can't do that. What the barriers are.
Go to like a National Honor Society meeting. And do a talk back if you want. Yeah. No, at least give like a verbal.
I mean, they have a library group within the NHS group, right?
I think so.
I think that's a great idea.
I mean, because if we're, instead of blowing it up and changing the model and doing all these things, I do think we need to learn about the history of it and what the restrictions are if we call it a job, a stipend, or a scholarship. Like, what is the implications that would also impact the student and the library?
This may not be possible at all.
It may not even be possible at all, but I also I think maybe a softer way to start is to just go to the students and say, why is this or is this not appealing? Help us understand how we can make it.
The next NHS
Better.
meeting, they meet in the mornings now, is October 12th, and they meet at 7:15.
That's the same day as our next meeting, which I won't be in the evening, but I could go to that. I
We
am
just had a meeting
happy to,
today, so-
okay, if anyone else wants to join me, I'm happy to kind of I mean, I did the forum last year, this interests me, I'm happy to.
October 12th at 7:15.
We could even, yep,
And we'll accept the same week as the book sale, so we could talk to some of them
yeah,
more.
They are having a
Casually.
book sale. I asked and they
Great.
told yes, so.
So we'll see some of them on the drop off day and setup days too.
yeah, but I certainly, yeah, I'm not leaving till that afternoon, 7:15.
In the morning, yeah.
Okay, maybe so Wendy and I can go and, can you give me the contact of who I should reach out to
Yeah,
there?
they're good.
I
Do you
think
need your email?
Yeah, why don't
It's Sam, okay, yeah,
I would actually very much like Sam included in this, given
that's great, yeah. I wasn't sure if I don't know if the scholarship is a steep or is
It's
it
a
a.
steep thing, but it's gotta work for the library.
Totally, yeah, okay, so, all right. Didn't know if you wanted to come at 7:15 to a meeting. Oh, wow. All right.
Buy you your coffee after. I know you don't.
Maddie, that's right to do this for tomorrow. All right, I will email Danielle tomorrow and I'll copy the three of us. And then we'll get some feedback and then we can understand that, we can go from there.
I mean,
And then, yeah,
it
at the
makes
meeting
that
too.
makes, to me, that's like the good first step.
I totally agree.
Because we're not moving forward with the November application at this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beck, is there anyone to reach out to? Does it make sense to reach out to? Is it even possible to change it, or is this just what it is?
Yeah, that's the next piece.
Like, we,
I could talk to HR about the requirements of pay versus scholarship. As far as the scholarship, the fact that it's called Ray Brandy, I think that's something the trustees, I would talk to Mark.
I can talk to you.
Yeah, because it was named after Ray Grandy, so maybe talk to Judy.
Because Judy's still really involved, I wouldn't want to change it without at least giving.
I mean, I don't think, I want to understand the history of how it came about and why it was set up this way in terms of how it is, but we can still make it a Ray Grandy something.
Yeah.
To honor him.
Yeah. So you'll find out from HR kind of what the stuff is. You'll talk to Mark about the history. We'll start going down the NHS route, getting some feedback from students. If there's any other that's one group we know that's kind of a really, really great pool that likes to be involved in things. If there's any other group that we think, I don't know, might be interested.
I think they're in the right age group to think about this, so it feels great to start with NHS.
Okay.
And they may ask them if there are other students that they could think of that we should reach out to. as
Yeah,
well.
sounds great. Okay, coming to next NHS meeting. All right. Good.
I texted you Danielle's email.
Thank you. I had it too, because Littleton Education Fund has given her money before, so the other thing. Okay, that was a really good conversation. I'm glad we talked about all of that. Let's move on to the trustee meet and greet debrief, which I know due to the weather was not everything we would hope it would be, but you gave me a really nice summary. Do you want to kind of talk about it a little bit?
really briefly, it was nice. We were expecting more people, the weather did not cooperate. But the group we had, I think, was really vibrant. It was a mix of another director and trustees that have been doing this for a really long time. One of the things that struck me was a lot of the trustees had been librarians, and so now we all feel bad for Sam that he's got us. So I feel like strongly as a librarian retires, one of us has got to go because it needs to decline. So strongly feeling that was my big takeaway. And thank you for putting up with this. I think that, the common things that we're seeing, they're seeing too, kind of across the board. So there's a lot of good kind of camaraderie about that. It was exciting to hear what other programs and libraries or what other programming libraries are doing. And just like great ideas, right? And then we all took a step back and like one of the other trustee said, well, we don't talk about programming because that's up to the directors and the libraries and their staff and stuff. Like, so like the same kind of thing that we did last year with like, wouldn't it be great if like they were doing that? And then they're like, nope, it would not be great. Like we have to not do that. So
Have we been better about that this year? Have we been better about that this year? Okay, good.
So that it was, but it was nice to kind of see that piece of it. And there was a really, really like good conversation about how frustrating it can be that libraries go unnoticed and the last ones invited to the table. And one of the trustees was from a really urban environment that's taking in a bunch of refugees, and it's impacting the schools and it's impacting housing and it's impacting all those other things. And the librarians are like, when are you going to call us to the table? Oh, you're not? Okay, well, we went ahead and set up ESL language classes, and we went ahead and set up how to get a driver's license or a state ID, and we went up and set up different ways to connect with clothing and daycare and all these other things. So we got you. And maybe next time call us ahead of time so we know how many people we have to do this for. So like the superhero nature of what libraries do was there. Andover talked about how it took about 16 years for Andover to partner the schools in the library. And I thought that was really just the time frame of that and just the power of that. So librarians there spent a lot of time in the schools. So when they're doing an AP paper, librarians went and showed them how to do the research for it. So they are in those buildings. It's not a you come to me when you need something, it's I am pushing into you. When the preschoolers and kindergartens are learning to read, the librarians go there for story time, and then say in after school, bring your moms or dads or caregivers to me. So that it became so seamless that anytime a budget item for the school came up, it was, and don't forget the library. And so anything that school initiative passed, the library initiatives passed too. So their funding is like not problematic at this point, but it took 16 years of marrying the two together and the advocacy around that. And the other thing that was really powerful in there was because libraries can be forgotten or dismissed, because I have my Kindle, because I have my magazines or whatever else. The woman who was sitting next to me talked about how she was guilty of that too. And so she's made it a point of kind of reminding herself that she needs to be in a library practice, which I love as someone who does yoga regularly. And just like, so what's your practice? It's not like I checked off my library, I did it. It's what is your practice, and that your practice can look differently. And so for a while, she talked about her practice in grad school, and in her early days of being working at a college, her library practice was to use the meeting rooms. But she still bought all her books. She didn't take them out of the library. She'd like to have her own books. And then her library practice was more electronic and downloading things because she was on the go more and had younger people around, things like that. And now her library practice is to grab a girlfriend and snacks, and they go to the periodicals and they will pull all the crafting stuff down and make lists of projects that were complete. And that's like the evening, right? And out, which I kind of loved. And then shared with a couple of my friends, and she's like, why aren't we doing that? I'm like, I don't know. And it lets her remind herself that like all these parts of the library exist, and why are we not using them fully, like for a night out, for a day out. And then we were talking about like a marketing opportunity for that. We were joking, like even calling on like Taylor Swift's eras, like which era of the library are you in currently, and like tag each other and kind of making that go on. So it was nice. It was very invigorating. It was very I thought it was really invigorating. It was nice to kind of hear other people's ideas and just kind of get the brain moving. And then there was like mini marketing at the end. People were like, and I work in a museum, and don't forget this, and the conference is coming up, and here's my flyer. And it was all good. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for putting that together. Sam, also, thank you very much. Yeah. Does anyone else who was there, I know not all of us were there. Anyone else have any feedback about it? Any thoughts?
I think Wendy's summary is great.
That's great. Wonderful.
That's okay, because one of them offered, well, at the end said, well, if we do this again, we can host at our library.
That's great.
So
Yeah.
it seemed to be something that people
Good.
would do again.
Did you get any feedback, Susan? Or do you have any feedback of your own?
No, I thought it was great. I didn't get any feedback from anyone, but I thought it was a great opportunity. I I thought it was, I kind of liked that not everybody showed up. It was a nice small little group.
It
Just
just,
'cause we're
it
all
was very
different.
intimate.
Well, yeah, but yeah, it was nice.
We had 3 tables set up
Yeah,
Yeah,
just in case, but like, yeah.
I think it worked out.
yeah.
Yeah.
The weather gods were against it,
Yeah.
for sure.
Is it something that we would be interested in doing again in another 6 months or another year or something like that? Or is it something that we're hoping that somebody else picks up? Like, do we want that to be a thing that we do, or is it something that we hope to pass around?
It was nothing, I mean, Sam did the planning.
Yeah.
We ordered food, like, and planned an icebreaker that we didn't have to do, so it was low stakes.
Yeah.
We now know how much food we do not need to order.
So one feedback we did, I think, given the demographic who attended and the conversations about the demographics of their demographic makeup of the board, is that perhaps like Sunday afternoon tea might be better
Than an evening
received,
activity,
yes,
okay.
given the age of
Got it.
many boards.
It was us plus like 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very, like, in terms of demographics, we were like, no, we're all in this, we are not diverse in terms of our age and
Yeah.
risk era of life, if you will. But they were also not diverse, just in a different
Just
era.
right, yeah. So is it something, I'm just kind of asking a broad question, is it something that we would want to host again? And if so, what timeline are we thinking about? What time are we thinking about?
I would say like twice a year, probably. I think anything more than that feels a little much because there's a lot of other events going on, but I would have no problem hosting again. It was low stakes, and I think it fell on you, so I'm talking to you, I guess, but if you don't
Yeah,
listen.
I think you're right. Earlier in the day, on maybe a Saturday or something would work better. But other than that, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Is that feedback we could go to the group who was invited and just say we're contemplating running this again at
Yeah.
a different time? Is that something they would be interested in?
Yeah, sure. I can ask.
Okay, good. So
And
keep that on
if
our-
so, what kind of frequency? Like once a year, twice a year?
Yeah, so we can keep that on our radar. So yeah, great. Okay, any other business?
Yeah, I forgot to put it on the Megan.
Oh, right.
We can put that on there.
It was in
I didn't put it on
Email.
the agenda. I put it on the email. I just realized, I totally forgot when I saw this. I'm glad I heard that.
I was gonna say,
What's the
That's
company?
Big Joe.
Anyone have any few, I know that last time there
They're
was.
sturdy.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's some fuzzy ones that feel like your grandpa's old, like blur, like those, you know, that. It's like not, it's not soft.
That was a review. I
I
was
don't
looking
think you
for.
want to deal with soft. No.
yeah, but she just wanted a canvasy kind of one, right?
Yeah.
Can I click on it?
Yeah, she said that she researched it and it looked like it was easy to clean.
Good reviews, big enough for what she needs. And she wants 2.
I'm good with it.
I mean, for the staff who have, or the trustees who have experience with these, it seems like these are a better option than what was proposed before, so.
Is she able, or do you guys have a process for being able to wash the covers?
I'll just take it home and wash it, basically.
Like that's okay for you guys to do?
Yeah, that's fine.
And there are replacement covers if need be. I believe, I think when I clicked on it, they said they
It's
could
like
replace it.
Do they sell extra covers, like just the covers?
Yeah, what if, do we need
They
more
do.
cover? How long, just click over.
What if she got like
What if you
a
get-
bean bag and an extra cover so she doesn't,
You can just
so you can
exchange them and wash
immediately switch
them.
them out, and then there's also not as much wear and tear to wash it constantly?
Sure.
So full covers are currently on sale for $47 each.
It's important.
I know.
So would that be 2 seats and 1 cover?
2 covers.
2 covers.
2 covers,
2 covers,
2
4
seats.
seats.
So about,
No, 4 seats,
no, she wants 2 seats.
2 seats, 2 covers.
2 seats, 4 covers, right?
But 2 of the seats come with covers.
You just want to, like, you buy a seat
Extra,
and
yeah.
an extra cover, so 2 seats, 2 covers.
Okay, so the special bundle offer is $158 each. Apparently, so
Sometimes 2,
I'm not sure what I'm picking, but we're just gonna do.
so $316.40.
I was just gonna.
So 316 total.
317, so maybe we'll want to say.
So if we said up to 325, just in case they're like, so, you know.
Well, we're gonna
350.
transfer it anyway, right?
Oh, okay, okay.
right? We like to, yeah.
Oh, so yeah,
So if we could we could transfer like 325.
Did it say how much shipping is?
No, I'm assuming.
I think it's a
I hope free,
only free, $316
$0.20.
and 40 cents.
40
when I
cents.
put it in
Yeah.
my box.
Yeah.
That's with
That's what I
that's
had.
the like bundled
Okay.
thing.
So you get
So
2 bundles.
if you got 2 bundles, it's $316.40.
Does it say anything about shipping?
Check out.
do you have a choice? Are they all the same color? Do you have a?
Shipping
there's
is
shipping.
free, and then there's $20 taxes because like you'll be able to call and do that. So and we can also just up it to $350 at this point, just to cover anything that,
And then she could choose the color she wants.
and she can choose the color she wants. That gives her some flexibility.
Right, so she could get like a blue cover and a black cover.
That's true. She could mix it up.
Yeah.
Someone want to, first Katrina.
I got it.
Yeah.
Move that trustees transfer $350 from account 311 George and Rose Wood Fund ending earnings into MMDT for the purchase of 2 bean bags and 2 covers for the YA grants.
A second?
Do the roll call. Katrina,
Yes.
Mira,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Kimberly, Chris,
Yes. Yes.
Kimberly, yes. Okay. What?
You're just talking to your son.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Any other business? Any other business? No, okay. Does anyone have a trustee update?
I actually signed up for the Massachusetts Library Trustee Association annual conference on
In
October
Shrewsbury, that one?
21st in Shrewsbury
I signed up
last
for that as
year.
well.
You did?
I did.
And I also plan to attend the orientation after just to refresh my memory.
Yeah.
So happy to carpool if you'd
Yeah,
like,
that'd
but
be-
if anyone else would like to, it's October 21st. I think it's 10 to
a.m.
3 if you do everything. It was in our emails last week, I think.
Sometime recently.
And what's the formal name of it, just for the notes?
Massachusetts Library Trustees Association Annual Conference. Yeah, I went last year just to see what it was about.
Yeah.
And I know the speaker this year, I saw it before it was mentioned to us at the trustee meet and greet, is actually a public health person too. So,
Oh, right.
so, go and refresh my memory on orientation too.
Great. Anyone else? Would someone like to move to adjourn?
I move to adjourn. I said.
Katrina,
Yes.
Mira,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
really, yes. Thank you very much.
Thanks.